He has seen the second shots that Looney gets probably won't be there to that extent because Anthony Davis is on the floor, so it's a little bit different. They're going to target Klay to a certain extent. So there's opportunities there to be had for a guy like Wiggins. Jordan Poole will have some opportunities. Those guys are going to have to be ready. I think Wiggins is going to have some moments in this series like he did last year for this team, particularly in the finals, where he has some 20-point games on nights when Steph Curry is really being targeted by the Lakers.
Where else does it have to come from for either of these teams? We know who the stars are.
Right.
Where else does it have to come from?
Yeah, I think on both sides of it, you're looking at Anthony Davis to continue to, I thought he had a really good, not great, but good first round series, and he's got to continue to do that in a series against Kevon Looney, who has shown you he can get you 20 rebounds in a game. Anthony Davis has to make sure that doesn't happen and put pressure on him. Do they have anybody that can guard him? On the other side, it's Klay Thompson. I want to see Klay Thompson playing against his dad's team, playing against his childhood team in L.A. to step up. Also, another guy who had a good, not great first-round series in a disastrous Game 7 that didn't end.
I'll tell you what, after watching that Kings series and after watching that Lakers-Grizzlies series, I don't know if the Lakers can afford to play fast with this team. So look to see if they try to slow everything down and maybe try to use Anthony Davis to their advantage and see if they can play a lower-scoring game. Also, the LeBron James-Draymond Green frenemy battle. Man, I have never seen. Can you believe that these two guys are in a love affair with each other after what we saw in those finals between Cleveland and Golden State? And Draymond is going to be on LeBron a lot. And you know they're going to be savvy. They're going to try to outsmart each other. They may hug at the end, but it's going to be fascinating to watch these two compete out on the court with each other. I can't wait. It's one of the things I'm looking forward to most in this series without question. And, of course, Steph Curry. Now, I know everybody got all excited about the speech that he made before Game 7, but guess what? He didn't actually trust his teammates with that motivation in Game 7. He took the ball his own self, and he took 38 shots in 38 minutes. That's not a guy who was worried about his teammates. That was a guy who was worried about making sure he didn't lose. And so the question is, Greeny, does he keep doing that after it works so well? Does he stay with the high-volume shooting with his teammates, frankly, being a little bit shaky recently in that Kings series?
Absolutely. And so this is where it begins, obviously, with the two icons going head-to-head, each of them with the 4 championships. Since 2011, LeBron's made it to the finals 9 times and Steph 6. So they are the two preeminent players of their generation, and they go head-to-head. But to the point that Wendy just made, by watching that game on Sunday, the best offense the Warriors had was a Steph Curry shot. The second best was anyone else just throwing it near the basket and letting Kevon Looney go get it. What else?
So if the Nuggets get through this series and are relatively healthy as they are right now and playing as well as they are right now, this could be their moment.
I'm just looking at it here quickly again. They're already up 2-0. Lakers-Warriors, of course, hasn't even started yet. They play their Game 1 tonight. Nuggets-Suns, they now are off until Friday. So they don't play. I'm just looking at where the rest advantage might come in. They don't play again until Friday. They go Friday, Sunday. And so we'll see what winds up happening because the series, they'll start, the league will start consolidating to make sure that the rest isn't that different. But to your point, if they wind up going 6 or 7 games and if there's no Chris Paul and the Nuggets get through this thing pretty quickly, could be interesting to see how much of an advantage that is. In the meantime, the real showdown, of course, is between the two preeminent players of their generation. Swagoo will join the conversation next, and I'm going to make a point about one person who I have to believe wants this more than he's ever wanted anything in his career. All right, we are back, and here's the sneaky question for you today, and I want to make clear, this is in total games, not series.
Right.
How many games, which team has won the most games against LeBron James in the playoffs?
All right, so my reasoning is that it's one of 2 teams, and it'd be Boston or Golden State. Those would be the 2 teams I'm thinking. And Golden State, it's 5th
credit. He played big when they needed him to when LeBron was hurt down the stretch of the season, and then they go. And so then, Wendy, I'll ask you, we're seeing Denver looking very good right now, and the conversation came up earlier here that maybe to some degree they are overlooked or even disrespected. In your mind, whoever wins this series between the Lakers and the Warriors, will they be the favorite to go to the final?
I have felt that the Warriors, if healthy, were my favorite to win the West all along. And I would say they're the favorite, although it's a narrow one in this series with the Lakers. I just respect what they can do too much. So, but the thing about it is the reason I was soft on Denver was because they were not good down the stretch of this season. They were 12-11 after the All-Star break. They did not impress me greatly against the Wolves in the last round. They have impressed me greatly these last 2 games. So, yeah, I still think I'd pick the Warriors, but let's have another conversation about the Nuggets in about 7 to 10 days.
Let's have the conversation quickly with you right now. How about it? Denver or the winner of the... Well, look, we can't write Phoenix off completely. They have Kevin Durant. They have Devin Booker. Let's not talk like that series is over. Will the winner of Lakers-Warriors be your favorite?
I think so. Whoever comes out of this series for me is going to be the favorite to get to the finals. And I'm not disrespecting Denver. It's just think about what they're going to have to do to win this series, one of these two teams, and how much more they are going to impress all of us to get through this. Because I think this is going 6 or 7 games. And the moments that these guys are going to have, by the time that's over, I think a lot of people are going to be convinced that is going to be the team that represents the West.
How do you know they won't be out of gas by then? Have a series like this where they go head-to-head, where you have an older LeBron James, you have Steph Curry, who's going to get a lot of defense thrown at him, as you know. And then who knows that if Chris Paul is injured, who knows if the Denver Nuggets...
Right.
I'm going to say they did not. Someone say Golden State. They did.
They did. It's Boston by 16. The Celtics have beaten him 16 times. If Golden State beats him tonight, that equals the record.
That's what I was talking about.
16 versus
They're going to do it
15.
tonight.
Oh, that was so close.
I walked through that so well, too.
You know, your thinking was exactly right, and yet you found yourself in the wrong answer. Meanwhile, last night, we had game 2 of the Nuggets and the Suns in Denver. And Alan Hahn, this thing, it always seems to happen. Chris Paul goes up, comes down, and we got a problem.
Yeah, a tale as old as time. It's just what happens with him in the postseason. It's got to be frustrating for him and obviously for the Phoenix Suns, who don't have a lot of depth.
Now, they were winning the game most of the night into that third quarter, but Nikola Jokic had it going. He had 39 points, 16 rebounds. Devin Booker doing what he can, giving the Suns a 5-point lead late third, but then it's Jokic again. It's Phoenix by 3 going to the fourth quarter, and then
to the lane. KCP, shooters, be ready when you're playing with Jokic. Stepped into it in a pressure situation.
More from KCP as he would get it done. Nuggets taking an 8-point lead, and then final 2 minutes in the fourth. The lead is 8. Jokic looking for the dagger, and he's got it. Nuggets win it 97-87. They take the 2-0 lead, and again, the status of Chris Paul remains very much in question. And so I want to ask the question, and I'll start with you, Wendy, who joins us from Boston this morning. We talked Celtics-Sixers off the top of the hour. Are the Suns done after dropping 2 games and perhaps now looking forward without Chris Paul?
They're not done, but their margin for error is non-existent. I mean, the thing about this game is Kevin Durant missed 17 shots, and he missed 10 threes. And quite frankly, the way they're constructed, they cannot afford Kevin Durant or Devin Booker to have an off game. And now, it's not even that Chris Paul had been playing particularly well. It's that when he was out there on the floor, he was a playmaking option, a guy who could create and get very good on balance offensively since Durant came there. But obviously, this is a huge challenge against a Nuggets team that looks like they're playing their best basketball over the last few months.
Legs. The Suns got 4 points off their bench in this game last night. I know they've got the superstars. I know they're depending on them heavily. But at the end of the day, they have to have some contribution from other places, right?
It's very rare when they give up on a team that's just dropped 2 road games without even playing a home game yet. I don't think they can win this series. I mean, I don't like the quality of the shots that they're getting. If their offense is going to operate the way it did most of the second half of this game, especially without Chris Paul, who's not out there to help facilitate and organize and let Devin Booker be off the ball at the start of sets. If he's handling the ball now most of the time, you're looking at a team that's good. It almost looks like an AAU offense. Like 2 best players on the court just taking turns trying to isolate against a great team. I don't think they're going to be able to win this series playing that way. I got major concerns. I think DeAndre Ayton also looks overwhelmed with Jokic. He just
against a Laker team that is a lot better defensively since they made those moves at the trade deadline. What else do they need to win this series?
I think you're going to need Wiggins to be better offensively. I think he's the guy.